Divided, we will be annihilated piecemeal. Annihilated through demographic suicide as the alien billions pour into our homeland with their feckless fecundity outbreeding us in our own land. Last year, the last time I was here, I elucidated in general terms the physical dimensions of our vision, our imperium. My forthcoming book, which will be out this November, modestly titled Imperium Europa, the book that changed the world. actually, it's not the book which will save the world, the white world, it's the idea. That is what will save us, the imperium vision. Anyway, my book will carry on elucidating and going into details, and not only that, giving the way forward, how to do it. It's no use meeting and talking in the airy-fairy lands of Evola and whatever. You know, it's got to be done. It's a fight, a total fight. So, I had explained the vision of imperium. An imperium girdling the globe. Ireland to Vladivostok, across the Bering Strait, under the ice, a tunnel, uniting the Thessalocracies with the Tellurics. Very important psychological link, because otherwise the internal enemy will set us up against each other. You will remember at Pristina, British soldiers were on the verge of a shootout with the Russians. We were saved by the skin of our teeth, you see. Madeleine Albright, that was the whole idea, to set us up against our Slav cousins. Putin is being portrayed as an enemy. The Russian people are being portrayed as Mongolid barbarians. They're great people, the Russian people. They're our bulwark against the Asian billions, you see. The Slavs can save the white race. They're not our enemies. So, Ireland to Vladivostok, under the ice, and a tunnel linking up to Finland, a North American continent comprising Alaska, Canada, and the present alien-dominated USA, a new continent, Finland. To the south, another white ring, huge swathes of land, the Latin American white cone, as we call it. Australia, New Zealand, continent reserved for whites, and of course Southern Africa, because we've got to go back there.
That's right.
Because otherwise, we've got to preempt the Indians. The Indians, since young Mutt's time, always had a covetous eye on Southern Africa, because the Indians could replace the Negrid in a very short time, you know. With all his faults, Idi Amin recognized what was happening. So we've got to be there, at least from the Zambezi to Cape Pagala. So 2 white rings, north and south of the equator. Now this was the mere geographical definition of imperium. A planetary imperium, itself girdled by a string of pearls, those sacred spots, an archaeological diary of a whole race. Stonehenge, Lazaret, Sarlat, Valcamonica, Malta, Königsberg, Moldova, Buret in Siberia, Malta, Siberia, because there's a Malta, Siberia settlement there, 13,000 years old, you'll say. So we have to look out for these sacred spots, for these PowerPoints. They must be ours, and they must not only, they must be the spiritual beckoning of a whole people. An imperium divided into 2. Imperium masculine dominium, feminine, symbolizing the eternal tantric symbols of yin and yang, male and female. First, the imperium. The imperium is the realm of the elite, and this elite will concern themselves only with 5 prerogatives: spirituality, race, high culture, high politics, and territory. Briefly, spirituality, cosmotheism, an attunement with the whole cosmos, consciousness into self-consciousness, into cosmic consciousness, where the elite will become the antenna to the gods, attuned with godness. Number 2, race. An imperium for Europeans only and none else, where the millions of Muslims within our midst will be the easiest to expel. Will be the easiest. I'll explain why. Food, our ability to grow a food surplus. We are the only race capable of producing a food surplus. The others can't. Food will be our weapon, not cluster bombs and nuclear weapons. We can starve the rest whenever we so wish. We can starve them by the millions, you say. So we will coerce through our weapon of food. We will coerce the madras, the mullahs and the mahdis, and coerce them to recall all Muslims back to their ancestral lands, the Maghreb. Otherwise, we will starve them within a few months. You will remember during the hostage drama in Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini, Jimmy Carter, where 82 Americans, most of them white, were held hostage for a whole year. While the Americans had this dilemma on their hands, you see, European countries vied with each other to supply food to the Iranians who got chickens and chicken meat and all the rest of it. France being a leading, of course, a leading betrayer of the rest. This is it, our fractured response. Food will, all exports, all foreign policy will be in the hands of the elite, and all our enemies will have to deal with one body of man. And that's it. So, we need this unified response, and we will use food. Our food for whatever we want. Our food for their last drop of oil, for they can't eat it, you see. We will have real politics if we use this food weapon instead of trying to gain lucrative contracts with the rest. Food for a willingly accepted repatriation program with all Muslims. And the Muslims will pack their bags in undignified haste because theirs is a strong religion, masculine, harsh, fit for the desert, not feminine, not Christian, you say, turning the other cheek. So they will do exactly what their spiritual leaders demand, under penalty of a fatwa. They pack their bags, including a large portion of those Europeans who converted to. We will lose them, of course, biologically, but we have to clean the stables. The Asians will simply leave quietly, just as they did in Uganda with Idi Amin. They will leave quietly, those. As for the more obstinate, obdurate, obtuse Negrid, certain sterner measures will have to be adopted. We will give the kafir the choice of the carrot or the stick. Number 3, high culture. High culture means a situation where archaeology and architecture will have pride of priority, pride of place, where buildings are colleges enjoying the most advanced technology, the product of the genius of the European race, you see. These archaeologies will nevertheless conform to the sacred geography of each region, conform to the aesthetic tradition of the various peoples,